I have been working in Nollywood. I have been producing, writing, acting. Eventually, I burned out. Like I completely burned out. So for the past 6 years, I have been working in Nollywood. I have been producing, writing, acting. Eventually, I burned out. Like I completely burned out. Guess what led to me burning out? Just realized that you can blow and still be broke. You can be friends with the biggest names. Name it. You can be friends with them. You can party with them. And you can still be soaking Gary in your house. I wanted to be more active in the company I got hired in. That was the first company that officially hired me in Nollywood in 2019. And because of that, I wanted to be closer to work. They had an office in Chevron and I moved to the island to be closer to work. And from there, after the COVID pandemic hit and, a lot of people lost their jobs. I mean, we couldn't really go to work anymore and also other things that came up, I just found myself in a place where I'm like, what exactly is happening? Like, what exactly is happening? I didn't have food in my fridge. I found myself eating my birthday cake, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There were days like that. I didn't have food in my fridge. I barely even had water. It was a funny and wonderful time. That's all I can say. Like, it was a wonderful time. But God was faithful. I got an opportunity to work with Nemsha Studios remotely while the pandemic was going on. And through Nemsha Studios, I was able to save. I was able to take care of myself. I was able to, do some things I wanted to do for a while. And eventually, the pandemic eased off, like the lockdown eased off, and I was able to go out and work with them and also work with other people that I was willing to work with. I also worked a bit with Jan Creative again. And yeah, from there, I just started working with so many other people and it was just up from there. I went to Del York Creative Academy. I did like an acting program with them and I just kept going and going and going. I wasn't looking back. Despite the fact that I was earning money, I wanted more. There was this constant pursuit of more, which is a good thing. I mean, it's always good for everybody to aspire for more. It's very good for everybody to want to be better, want to, get themselves to a higher stage in life. But then when you find yourself comparing yourself to other people around you, like when you're constantly comparing yourself, like, okay, I want to be like them, or I want to just have the same things that they have. I want to drive a nice car. I want to have a driver. I want to go to this place and shop in this place. I want to carry this designer bag. I want to date this fancy guy. I want to, when you just keep wanting more and more and more and more and more, like, how big is that vacuum? Like, what can fill that vacuum? when is enough? Like, at one point, do you feel like I have enough? At what point? Because I just kept going and I didn't realize that I was going to burn out. I just kept going and going and going and going and going. And if there's one lesson I've learned, is that you have to pace yourself. You have to pace yourself no matter what. But that's not to tone down the impact that working the way I did, like the impact it made in my life, because it actually helped me grow. Like, I really grew as a producer. I learned acting, but I also got into producing through the ladies that I worked with, through the women I worked with. And they taught me so much that I didn't previously know about producing. I learned to be fast on my feet, because as a producer, time is money. You have to keep to time. You have to have excellent time management. You have to be very good with your time. Like, time is money. And to be honest, I'm speaking like I was perfect, but I wasn't, because there were so many times when I was late to set. I'm never going to lie. And there were times when actors were mad at me. There were times when crew were mad at me. There were times when even executive producers and I were at loggerheads. There were times when, there was even a time I was fired from set. Yeah, there was a time I was relieved from set. But guess what? There were also times when I was awarded for my hard work. There were also times when people looked at me and said, thank you. Without you, I don't think I would have made this movie a possibility. This video is not to shade the industry. Rather, it's to highlight the hard work, to highlight the sacrifice, the compromise, the constant compromise that we put into our crafts. Compromises and sacrifices that will never, ever be repaid back in the same way that we put it in. You know, there are so many of us that are dead today out of negligence. There are so many of us that are dead today out of improper financial management, or not enough financial management, not enough finances. There are so many of us today who have gotten broker, if that's a word. Is that a word? Broker. Who have gotten broker because they are a filmmaker. You know, like, their friends are out there, like their friends are investing in houses, investing in mortgages, investing in property, investing in real estate, or, you know, some other like venture that can yield them like returns, you know, like sure returns. But guess what my fellow brothers and sisters are doing in Nollywood? They are using their money to make films. You know, they are pouring into the industry. They are sacrificing a lot for movies to keep the culture going. Because aside, like we are close, like side by side with Hollywood, with Bollywood, with, you know, with this big industries, film industries, and we have to represent. We have to show up. We have to show the world what we're made of, you know, and to do that, we have to keep showing up, you know, and that takes a lot, like it's a lot of sacrifice, you know. So one thing I've learned about producing, another thing I've learned about producing is that producing is a labor of love. I think I've said that already. I'm not sure. Yeah, producing is a labor of love, and it's something that would also teach you how to budget. If you don't know how to budget, being a producer will teach you how to budget. So if you don't know how to plan your money, if you don't know how to save, and if you don't know how to budget, become a producer. So let me take you through the ups and the downs that I have experienced in my time in Nollywood so far. Now, picture this, right? We were discussing the characters for some of the roles that we were casting for, and the role for Gbemi came up, and Gbemi was one of the photographers that went to Chief Kalejaye's house to interview him, and also she works closely with the character that was just a pain, a pain to the family, like the journalist that was just a pain to the family. So Eku and I were having that conversation about the character, and we're just discussing how to make the character unique. And yeah, I expressed interest in the character, and she's like, okay, yeah. And even like the other, like the founders of Ingblots were also like, okay, I think that makes sense, and what came up was that I was going to cut my hair, and which was something that I was wanting to do. So I was going to cut my hair like Anita Baker style. I was going to like cut. We were shooting in some school in Surulere, Ijesha, around there. We're shooting like some scenes in Slum King, and we're heading back to our hotel in Surulere, and we're driving in my car, and it started raining. And it was just me and Dimeji in the car, and it started raining, and it wasn't just raining, it was pouring. Like the rain was coming hard on the and before you know it, I don't know, but the area we were in, it was like, I don't know if the gutters were blocked or something, but everywhere just became flooded. Like everywhere became completely flooded, and before you know it, my car was like submerged in water. Like you couldn't if you open the door, like the water would literally like, it would feel like the car is sinking underwater. Like that was how it felt. Like it was very close to my window. That was how high the water was. I don't even know how my car survived, but I knew that the bill that my mechanic gave me after that day, oh no, like I can't forget. I can't forget that moment, because that night I thought about like my decision to be in Nollywood. I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, when love strikes, when love strikes comes up, I felt very sick on When Love Strikes sets, and I went to the pharmacy. The VFX person on the project, Jerry Osai, we actually like were leaving set that day, one of those days that we're shooting at Remo Stadium, and I told him to kindly drop me, like stop by at the pharmacy, and the pharmacy was not the kind of pharmacy that you see in Lagos. Like when I walked in, first of all, the outside looked like it was like the entrance to like a local club. So I was like, what's going on? There were so many guys around. There were some babes chilling in the corner. I'm like, what's really going on here? And I entered, and there were like a lot of people. Like it felt like I was in a bank. Like there were a lot of people like just loitering. I'm going to actually Google it right now and just bring it up. Remo Stadium. Yes, Ikene. Ikene, yes, that's where it is, yeah. So the third moment that comes to my mind when I think about like a highlight of Nollywood was in Ikene. Yeah. So it was obvious that I was a stranger, because they kept looking at me like, I was just like, it felt very weird. I didn't start with acting. And I did not start with producing. I started the very first film experience that I had. I don't know if you guys remember Secondary. Like, it's a very old series. Like, I think it was filming then on NTA. My daddy was very, very disciplined and very, very strict. And even the fact that he even heard that I was going on a movie project, he was so mad. He was like, what are you doing with your life? You're wasting your life. You know, like, he just felt like I was wasting my time. So I felt like now coming in front of the camera would have aggravated him the more. So I was like, you know what, let me just go on the set as the director's assistant. You get? So that was what I did on that project. And I think I worked for like 2 days or so. They shot for like five days, but I went for 2 days. And that's because my daddy did not allow me to go for the remaining days. There was one day that they were shooting that was a Sunday. And my daddy said, oh, really? Now you have become an atheist. Oh, okay. So you want to join Sodom and Gomorrah? He was a very dramatic man, you know, like he's the kind of person that there was a Sunday that I didn't go for it because my dad was like, don't try it, not under my roof. So that was the first project I worked on, and after that I left the industry for a while. Okay, so yeah, in 2018 I actually met a group of people, 3 people actually, who were kind of like the people who held my hand, even if for a little while, but they held my hand into Nollywood, into just becoming a script writer. Because in 2018, in 2019, I got into Accelerate Filmmaker project. And afterwards, I think it was an Accelerate Filmmaker project I met most of the people I know now in Nollywood. Yeah, so I also met the late Ebert Wigwe, and he was very warm, he was very passionate. You could tell that he was very interested in investing in the lives of young filmmakers and just helping them hold their hand, you know, through, you know, their desire to grow an industry, to grow a career in Nollywood. So in 2019, I started working with Giant Creative Media. 2020, I started working with Nemshia. 2020 into 2021, I was working on ads. I started working on ads with Nemshia. We worked for a while. And that was how I got to work with Wizkid. Yeah, I met Wizkid. Yeah. He's a very chill guy. He's very different from what people say. To be honest, like, Wizkid is chill. Wizkid is quiet, and he can also be talkative. But yeah, the vibe was chill. And I also worked with Agbani Darego for a very brief time. At least I saw her. I saw her when she was walking in and when she was walking out. Yes. So I didn't get a picture with her though, but yeah, I worked with Agbani. And yeah, we worked together. We worked on Breath of Life. Breath of Life was actually a very interesting set. You know, I had to go beforehand to Ibadan to cast some of the extras and the people who appeared in the film. And it was quite interesting to see the locals of Ibadan. You know, like, I was casting every day. Even when we were shooting on campus, because we shot who came all the way from Ibadan to Lagos to shoot with Breath of Life and to shoot with Nemshia. Nollywood is not for the faint-hearted. If you don't get mind, you don't go survive for years, my guy. Like, this is the streets. Forget the glamour, forget the phone, forget the packaging that you're seeing on camera, that you're seeing on TV. If you don't have mind, it's a very unpredictable journey. It's chaotic. It's crazily chaotic. You find yourself asking yourself what you were thinking when you decided to become a filmmaker. Yeah, there'll be moments like that. There'll be times when you'll be stuck in the rain and you have to get on set. And if you don't get on set on that moment, you're going to get fired. There'll be times when you'll be raging and you won't even know why you're raging. There'll be times when you will be offended and there'll be times when you will need to let go. There'll be times when you'll be stuck in the hospital and people will still not understand that you are trying your best. There will be times when you will almost give up. My first job taught me humility. It taught me to start from scratch. It taught me to value people. It taught me to value the humble beginnings. It taught me to build something with my hands, to not be lazy, to not despise my little beginnings, to not look down on myself because and working in Nollywood also taught me how to lead. And when I say lead, I don't mean acting like you're something, because I also did that and it didn't work out. But it taught me how to serve. It taught me how to take pleasure in serving. Because you can't lead if you're not a servant. You can't lead if you're not willing to put your foot down and be of service to somebody. Put your foot down and let someone use you. Yeah, I said the word use you. Because we like to run away from that word. We like to say, oh, I don't want to be used. I don't want to suffer in Nollywood. Please, oh, I want soft life. How do you build legacy if you're not willing to do the hard work? How do you build legacy if you're not willing to show people how valuable you can be? Especially when you are just starting out. You have to show how far you're willing to go. I learned so much, but I also got bullied. Yeah, I got bullied by some people. I'm not going to mention names. But yeah, those moments made me who I am today. So yeah, I'm grateful for my bullies. Every single one of them. I'm so grateful. Thank you for bullying me. Thank you for making me feel small. Thank you for making me shrink. Because now I know how it feels like. And I know that I never want to be there again. And I know that I never want to make anyone feel that way. And that's why I'm making this video. So people can know that I am relatable. People can know that they can relate to me. People can know that I am not some faraway producer. I'm nearby. I'm the girl next door. You get. I didn't get to where I am today by being just a pretty face. I put in the work. I know I look soft. Yeah, maybe, I guess. But guess what? We work over here. We put in the hours. We put in the work. We put in the sweat. We put in the blood. Because we know that that's the only true way to really gain respect. If you want respect, you have to be willing to put in the work. You have to respect the process. And that's one thing that I didn't always do. I wanted it sharp. You know, I would do one project and I'll be like, okay, I think it's time for me to become the biggest thing in Nollywood. But guess what? I was so wrong. Because I just kept going. Project after project after project after project. And it just kept going. And I found myself even at the point where I did not have time for my family. So based on my experience in Nollywood, This is what I have to say to the younger generation, the younger creatives who want to begin or scale their careers in Nollywood. The first thing I would say is, if you are a Christian, please don't underestimate the power of holding God close. Don't underestimate the power of the Holy Spirit. Don't underestimate the power of seeking God's guidance first. Yeah, it sounds very trivial. It sounds like something you could just pass by, but it's something that has led me through. I've been through very murky waters. Yeah, and guess what? I'm here today, sitting here on my lovely couch, talking to you. Not by my power, but by His grace. Yeah, it sounds cliche, but by His grace. Yeah, that's the first thing I'll tell you. Hold God close. Hold God close and never leave His side. Never. Not for anyone. Not for any role. Not for any movie. Not for any actor or any producer or any director or any project. Don't leave God. Always hold Him close beside you. Ask Him, is this what you want me to do? Ask Him. Yes, He will direct you. He knows the blueprint. Ask Him for it. As a producer or as a filmmaker, you need to have a clear picture of where you're going to. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? As a filmmaker, as a producer, as an actress, as a writer, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you see yourself hustling to make ends meet? Do you see yourself as a blockbuster actor, currently constantly getting booked? Do you see yourself working with what specific names or what specific producers? Where do you see yourself? Like, what plan have you made? Or are you just hopping from set to set? Are you just collecting everything they're offering you? Do you have a choice? And are you exercising that choice? I mean, you do have a choice. Yes, you do have a choice. But do you know? Do you know that you have a choice? And are you making use of that choice? I think that's very, very important for you to know. What do you want? Not what everybody else wants. Not what everybody else wants of you. Not what somebody else sees in you. Or not what somebody else expects you to be. But what do you want? I feel like that's the first step. When it comes to defining how you want your career to scale. Why are you doing this? Are you doing this because you want to belong? Are you doing this because you want to show your village people that you're going to make it? Are you doing this because you want to give your mother a better life? Because that's a very tangible reason to do this. Are you also doing this because you want to build on your passions? You want to build on your talent? You need to define your why. That's the first step to scaling your career. When the fame finally comes, when the attention finally comes, when the motivation comes, when the what's that word? When the validation comes, don't get lost in it. Don't abandon your why. Don't abandon your God. Don't abandon your family. Don't abandon your values. Say no to drugs. Don't become a drug addict. Don't be in the company of drug addicts. Yes, you have to pick a side, and this is not me being judgmental. This is me being factual. This is me showing you that there's consequences for everything, you know? There are consequences for every action you take. It's not about me. It's not about anything I have to say. It's not about my judgments or my perceived judgments. No, I'm not being judgmental. I'm being factual, and I'm saying that there's cause and there's effect. You know, some people call it karma. Some people call it God's what happens based on what you do. Yeah. So stay away from drugs. Stay focused. Don't let anybody make you feel like your hard work is a waste of time, because it is not. And also work smart. Don't work blindly without purpose, because if you have purpose and if you have a vision and if you have your why, it makes it very clear to channel your hard work in the right direction, you know. But when you don't have a vision, you just, I know, everybody wants a taste of you, and you just keep shedding yourself because you don't know where to go. If you don't have a clear vision, somebody else will give you something to do, something to believe in. Yes, if you don't have a clear vision, you find yourself working for other people's vision. You find yourself enslaved to other people's vision. So what is your vision? Define that. Don't go broke trying to look like you're not broke. Yeah. Spend your money wisely. Save. Save. Because there are going to be rainy days. Save your money. Don't feel pressured to belong. And yes, I'm not saying that you should not try to belong, but wherever you find yourself, where you are not appreciated for your talents and who you are by itself, wherever you find yourself where you have to be somebody else, or you have to pretend or perform or try to be bigger than you actually are, that's somewhere that you should not be. Let them call you a jolly just come. Let them call you somebody who does not belong. Yes. Let them call you a black sheep. Let them call you an outsider, an outcast. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm an outcast for God. I'm an outcast for my family. Good. Yes. Own it to your chest, and don't let anyone intimidate you. Don't let anyone make you feel like you're missing out on something, because you're not. The only thing you're missing out on is the future that God has prepared for you. The only thing you're missing out on is the future that you're supposed to have. If you work hard, if you are focused, if you are smart, if you don't lose sight of your vision, you don't lose sight of the actual place you should be. If you stay on that line, if you stay on that road, you're going to get there. And it might not look like it right now, you know, like things might be tough right now. And even me, as I'm saying this right now, it's not like I'm perfect, or it's not like I have something amazing going on, you know. I mean, I do have something amazing going on by God's grace. Yes, I do. And when I say amazing going on, I mean, like, it's not like I've reached my destination, you know. I'm still going. And I felt like that was even God's way of saying start afresh. You know, start from authenticity. Start from realness. Start from being organic. Start from being real. Stop performing. Stop trying to belong. Stop pretending. Stop stop wanting something other than yourself. You might not be where you want to be now, but you will definitely get there. You will definitely get there. My name is Ezinne Akam, and this is my YouTube channel. I'm going to be showing up way more often than you expect, so please subscribe, leave a comment, and don't forget to like and share with your friends. I love you so much. Thank you for sticking around, and God bless you.
Ezinne, thank you very much for your beautiful message and the advice. May God see through. Thank you, my dear.